What's up, fellas? We got our HB tuners for the Jeep. It's for Jeep 4.0. It works pretty good. Works really good. It ain't a V6, but whatever. You see what you go in here, add what channels you want to look at. There's lots of videos online about this. I want to look at advance, time in advance, fuel, got that in there. Let's see what we got. Gotta be on. Of course, I got 4 days off from work and it's supposed to rain every day. I got a wideband that goes with it, that I bought to go with it, that you can overlay and see and record through here. I was gonna put that on today, but that didn't work out. This is just a scanner where you can read all your init data logs. So right now it's recording. So if we stop it, we stop scanning it, and you can go to your log files and you can find every file you've ran. It's time stamped, date, all that stuff. But the Spark Advance on these things, a few things I've found so far. The Spark Advance at the timing at wide open throttle, 5200 RPMs on this thing's only like going up to like 28 degrees, and that's it. So there's some gains to be made there. Also, I found I have I think 22-pound injectors on here, or 20-pound injector, something like that. But I have to look again and research that. But my last time I took it out and ran at wide open throttle, it went to 80% duty cycle on the injectors. And if the air fuel's right, it's making probably about 210 horsepower from what I could figure. So I know the timing, changing the timing, upping it a little bit on the top end will make a little bit more power. And seeing what the air fuel ratio is. Let's see here. Make sure it's right. You can go in, like, let's stop it. Let's switch it off. Let's disconnect. Now we can go in our log files. Open log files. We can go to where I did it the other day. I think it was the 29th, yeah, about 6:30. And this is, you pull it up, that's the recorded log, and you can go up here and play it back. So you can sit on the couch and watch it and see what's going on. But see here, this is our Spark Advance. Right here, you see it dancing all around, 34, which is good. 32, 34, 36, 33. Got some 45s up here. It's probably what I'm letting off of it. I'm not sure. But what's funny is at 5,200 RPMs, the rev limiter, that's our timing table for wide open throttle. That's your KPA on your map sensor. So when you floor it, it's at 95 or 100 KPA, and that's what it puts the timing at. Let's drop it down and look and see. There's some gains to be made there with the stock engine, I think. Let's see, wide open throttle, that's your timing. 24 degrees, 26. Everything I've ever tuned on the engine dyno, where you mechanically tune the engine, you want it to start out around, 10, 11, 12, at idle 13, and go up to about 36, 34. Every engine likes different timing, but not 28 degrees at 5,200. You can actually see why the guys that are putting turbos on these things without doing any tuning, and they live. As long as you're wide open throttle, look at your timing. 21 degrees, 24 degrees. Now, as far as the fueling goes, they were up, and I've seen guys put turbos on a stock ECM and it lived, probably because of this timing. And then they up the fuel pressure with the boost, which will change your flow rate on your injectors. So that's how we did it back in the day before they had all this stuff. You would just up the fuel pressure with the boost, and it would change your flow rate on your injectors. You could take these, say this is going to, let's stop it. This is going to 80% duty cycle right now with 20-pound injectors at, I think, 49 psi. That's another thing I gotta get, is a fuel pressure gauge and make sure our fuel pressure's right, because I ain't found a fuel pressure sensor on one of these, so you're gonna have to get a gauge for it. But back to the, say I'm got 80% duty cycle with this Jeep at 49 psi. If I boost reference a fuel pressure gauge, put a 100-pound pump in the tank, and raise the fuel pressure from 49 to 50, 60, 70, whatever, it's going to make your injectors flow more. So I could see now with the timing and them boosting their fuel pressure, it would probably live wide open throttle with about 7 pounds of boost, I would say, because 28 degrees of time is not that much. And at wide open throttle, it's real low. The whole table is. Now the fuel trim on these 0.2 millivolts, let's go on over to 5,200 where we ran it up. That's your millivolts for your at 5,200. I think 453 is pretty good. 454. I think it's doing what it's supposed to do. I know it is, because there ain't no codes in or anything. I haven't did the math on the millivolts, but we're going to hook that AFR gauge up here. We're going to get a dual thing. I'm going to put one AFR here, and I'm going to get a fuel pressure gauge to put here, because I want to make sure my fuel pressure is right, because 80% duty cycle on 20-pound injectors. Say if these are 22-pound injectors, and I don't know, I'd have to research it. I put them in here 8 years ago, but they're at 80% duty cycle. If you do the math on it, it should be making 214 horsepower at the crank, if the fuel pressure's right and if these voltages are right. Well, when we get the gauge on there, we'll see. I'm sure it's lean, but from what I remember, 453, 458 millivolts is okay, I think. So we're gonna rely more on that than this, and then I'm not going to change any settings in the ECM until I know my fuel pressure is correct and I got the wideband hooked up. So then we could give it a little bit more fuel, get it up, see what the air fuel ratio is on it right now, and tune it properly without just going in there and changing a bunch of stuff and trying to get it to do things that it ain't going to do if you don't have right fuel pressure and the right air fuel ratio. You guys that's been tuning V8s with this stuff forever, y'all know way more than we do with the Jeeps. So if you're watching this and you tune LS stuff or whatever with HP tuners, we're Jeep people, We just got this and it's just came out, so we're trying to figure out ways to tune a little bit of more horsepower out of our stuff, and it's going to be a learning process. But I have dynoed engines for a living, but those you mechanically adjust everything. You don't have this. And the dyno figures horsepower by, it's got a pump in the back of it that loads the engine up, and then it does a math formula for pounds of hour of fuel used, plus different parameters in the dyno machine and the software. But you can tell a lot by your duty cycle on your injectors if your fuel pressure is right. If your fuel pressure is 49 psi, you got 20-pound injectors, and you're using 80% duty cycle, you can figure out about what power it's making. And you can also, and this is information for the Jeep guys, you can also, if you make changes, say you don't do anything to the ECM, you don't go in there and change any settings or anything, and you say add a header or whatever, you can go in here and see if it's using a little bit more fuel, whatever, and you can know it did good or not. This is a very useful tool for us. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go changing anything in my ECM. I've actually got another one I'm going to put on here before I start doing that, because this one's been underwater I don't know how many times, and we've dried it out up here on the dash on the heater and got it working again, and put it back in there. So I got a fresh computer coming, and we're going to put that in there also, the wideband and fuel pressure gauge, and then I can really see what we can do with this thing from what I know, and get with y'all then about that. But right now I'm just monitoring stuff. I'm gonna go, matter of fact, I'm about to leave now. I want to make a video before I left and see. I want to go put it in 4 low and put it in some situations that I would be in the woods and see what it says like that, because I did run it out on the highway. Once you get about, you can see what do we go, is this the right one? This is not the right one, or is it? Yeah, it is. Wait a minute, let's go in this other log file. We went to 60 something miles an hour, which ain't no fun on one of these, almost 70. It sounds crazy to most people, but this thing's got 40-inch tall tires on it. You get up around 70, it's wanting to get crazy. Okay, pause it. Yeah, we went right at 60. See, I ain't hit the 5200 yet. Yeah, about 65. But that's where we hit 80% duty cycle. And here's your maximums and stuff over here. 80% duty cycle. The maximums on the map. KPA readings. Spark Advance. We maxed out at 46. 22.5 degrees. Injector pulse width. And these, you can go in and change all of this. There's videos all over YouTube about how to use HP tuners. Yeah, I got to figure it out myself, but you can make this the whole screen. You can make this table the whole screen, this table the whole screen, and you can change all of this. You can make this whatever you want this to read, and it's all up here in your channels is what they call it. Your channels would be your oil pressure, your air intake temperature. All this is what they would call channels on this. And you just go in here and select them, and then when you log onto your vehicle and start, it scans what you're told it to scan. And it's also got OB2 stuff on it too, where you can read codes, like OB2 codes. You can read the codes on it. You can do lots of stuff with this thing. But from what I'm seeing right now, if you got a stroker motor, and that's all you're going to do to it. You can still do a lot of tuning with this thing because the timing is really low up high at 5200. Not everybody runs theirs like that, but I do. And I'm going to make some changes there eventually once we get the fuel pressure right and everything right. But anyway, I got the motor mounts changed. There, I put the Daystar motor mounts in it and transmission mount. And I wanted to hook that AEM up today, but that ain't happening. This is what it looks like. This is what you want to get. MVP I2 from HP Tuners. $299, and it is well worth it in my book. You have to buy credits for each ECM. Like if I had to spend $50, but I ain't even used it yet. You don't need it to do all this. But you get this, you follow instructions in that pamphlet that comes with it, and it's pretty easy. You register it, plug it in. If you can't figure out how to get onto the Jeep, just go on YouTube and look around, because I'm no good at doing stuff like that. There's plenty of videos. HP Tuner has videos on how to set this stuff up and how to read it and all that kind of stuff and get it started. But get that and do that, and it's a pretty useful tool, that's for sure. And you can go in there and rewrite the tune from the factory tune. You can rewrite it and make changes in it and make your Jeep run better. And you can also save the factory tune when you get started, so you can go back to it if you screw up something. Because I'm sure I will, because I'm going to put a turbo on here. We got to figure out how to put a 2-bar map on it, map sensor on it, and figure out how to get this time and stuff under control, and we'd be good to go. But anyway, I got another Jeep I'm going to go get if it ever quits raining. I got for parts. It's a 97 5-speed 4.0. It's got like 300,000 miles on it, but it's rusted to nothing. But it's got AX15, 231, 4.0, high pinion front, 825 rear, and it's a bunch of spare parts for us. Wiring harness is good, all that stuff that we'll need. But anyway, I'll see y'all soon. Rest of motor mounts, I think we got the goodie out of them. Both sides were trashed. Yeah, it'll fall out of there if I wiggle it too much. But yeah, junk. But y'all take it easy. I ain't gonna get much done today. Alright, bye.